Okay, yeah, I'd like to talk to everyone about marriage today and how it's a negative institution for men. So, the men's rights activist Peter Lloyd said that marriage is the Lord of the Rings. Basically, I figure as an institution, it used to have some value for men. It used to have a lot of value for everyone, actually. But now, as it is today, it's lost all of that value, basically for everyone, but in terms of the gender who it hurts the most, marriage hurts men the most right now. So in 1970, if you look at the UK population, or if you look at the number of marriages that happened that year, it was around 460,000. Now that by 2012, that number reduced to about 240,000. So why is this? You know, how come is it that in 40 years, when the UK population has increased massively, that marriage has just plummeted through the floor? Why is it that no one's getting married now? You know, what's happening to this institution? Isn't it, it's something that's still promoted a lot. You know, you still see it at the end of every romantic comedy you watch. You know, it's still something that like little girls dream about all the time. It's still given a good view in the mainstream media. So why is it no one's actually getting married? I guess some of us people in the men's rights community believe that no one is getting married because of feminism, and what this has done to gender relations. So this works in a number of ways. You know, the way feminism has attacked marriage and just the family unit. We see this clearly in the no-fault divorce laws that were brought in, you know, in the early 1970s. Right after those laws were brought in, there was an immediate falling in the number of marriages that were happening. And so what did those laws bring in? Well, before that point, it was quite difficult to get a divorce. The marriage was seen as a legally binding contract, and people entered into it, and it was expected that they would be together for life. So, you know, that's sort of, if you speak to an older person, like your grandparents, or, you know, like an older adult you see in, say, a nursing home or something, then that'll often be what they say about, you know, how they married when they were very young, and they stayed with their partner for their entire life. Nowadays, you don't really see that. You see people getting married later, if at all, and marriages, the rate of divorce has just skyrocketed ever since no-fault divorce laws were brought in. And one of the most common reasons you see for divorces nowadays is, I think 70% of the time, it's initiated by the woman, and the most common reason given is that she wasn't happy in her marriage. So it's not a case of it was horrible, or he got this horrible defective illness, or he died or something. I wasn't happy in my marriage. It wasn't everything I expected to be. It wasn't like the Disney movie where everyone lived happily ever after. And ever since no-fault divorce laws have been brought in, we've just seen an absolute plummeting in the number of people who are getting married, and also an incredible rise in the number of people who are getting divorced. And so what we're getting now is just a generation of younger people who are not bothering with marriage at all. It just seems to be that we have massive single culture, hookup culture, promotion of lots of lots of sex and so on, and then like going through lots of different partners all throughout your youth. Not that many people having children, or if they are, having them out of wedlock. And is this actually benefiting everyone, or is it benefiting anyone? You know, and what's the cost of moving from a traditionalist system towards the hookup culture that we now have? And I believe what we're seeing is a falling apart of social values as a result of people not getting married. And also, I think it's important to ask why people aren't getting married anymore. I often hear from women, they're saying that people aren't getting married anymore because women are more career orientated now, they're more job focused, they want to concentrate on that, and also they kind of enjoy the single life as well. Whereas the more MGTOW, the more men's rights perspective is that, men just aren't asking women anymore. Go for it.
Someone saying that, for example,
yes, sort of. I think we need to see the point before that, which is in order for someone to get married, the first thing that has to happen is the guy needs to propose to the woman. I've never actually seen an example of it being the other way around, but there may be, but I know 99% of proposals it's the man who does it. And so what we're seeing is men just aren't really asking women anymore. And the reason why this is happening is because it's become an absolutely awful institution for men. I guess mainly because of the divorce rate, because 50% of marriages break down in divorce. 70% of the time it's a woman who asks for the divorce. And if you have got kids in that situation, then it's about 90% of the time they're going to be taken away from you. So we see the men's rights group, Fathers for Justice. I mean, if you look at some of the stories in there, I mean, there's just frankly awful situations of men who have had their lives destroyed by horrific divorces. And what you see there is one of the really guilty parties in this is the family court system, which, as an institution, they are horrifically sexist, and they sort of, I guess the police as well would fit into this bracket, but they, essentially what they do is they help militarise really horrible women against their husbands. And there was a recent story in the Fathers for Justice website, and it was the divorce of a guy named Tim Harries. And with his divorce, I believe he was married to a lady who was from Jehovah's Witnesses church, and so he had 2 kids with her. And during their marriage, he said that you basically needed to be in her good books all the time, or you'd just be ostracised. And I think there was a few incidents where one time she started attacking him, and so he restrained her, and then she phoned the police afterwards and had him arrested. But then, like when his kids, I think one was about 6, the other was about 9, and he came back home one day, and his wife told him that, I don't want to be married to you anymore. You're going to have to leave the house now. We're getting a divorce. That's all there is to it. And he was trying to find out why. She wouldn't give him a reason. And so I think he was then in the house a few days. And at that point, she sort of just had a massive argument with him. And at the end of it, she said, you need to get out of the house now, otherwise I'm going to call the police. And so he sort of had a tearful goodbye with his 2 daughters, and basically he went along with it. So he left the house, which I believe he had a higher amount of mortgage money in the house than her, and but he left anyway. You know, he left you know, this house that he had built from the ground up, and he left his kids. And after that, he found out that she was actually sleeping with a psychologist who she was seeing for relationship difficulties. So you've got a horrific, you know, sort of what's it, conflict of interest going on there. Yeah. And after that, they started to go through divorce proceedings, and she started to just make up loads of stories about him being horrible to her, about him bullying her, about him just being this really nasty man that he wasn't. And it resulted with him going to court a whole bunch of times, the court not really listening to him at all, that he wasn't this horrible bully. And since about 2011, he's been separated from his daughters, and he hasn't been allowed access to see them. He's only allowed to write letters to them now. Otherwise, he has absolutely no way of talking to his children other than writing letters. And they haven't been responding to him because the mum has corrupted these two young children against their father. You know, she's just been telling them all this crap about him and their kids. So, you know, I guess if you tell them enough crap, they come to believe it. They may challenge it in later life, but at that point they're not going to. And so it's just absolutely destroyed his life. There's one of the worst examples I can think of a marriage that has been absolutely wrecked by the family court system. Happened in the USA, and that was the case of Thomas Ball. And with his marriage, I believe he was. I'm not sure if he was a fantastic father. I think there was one incident where he hit his daughter, and after that, the family court police got involved. He was kicked out of the family home. There was no effort to actually, you know, look at his behaviour and how to integrate him back into his children's lives. He was just cast out, and but he was still required to pay loads of child support to them. You know, he was still required to pay alimony to his ex-wife. You know, that never changed. So he's still required to financially benefit them, but there was no actual reward for that. You know, he didn't actually get to see his children. You know, he was still kicked out of his home. And this case ended up with him, the family court system over there wanted him to pay, I believe it was alimony and child support. He couldn't afford to make the payments. They were thinking about, I mean, they were looking at sending him to jail because he couldn't actually pay the alimony payments. So what he did was he doused himself in petrol on the steps of the New Hampshire family courts, and he set himself on fire, and he self-immolated. He burnt himself to death. So that's the level of horror, really, that you see with these organisations, and that's pretty much why men aren't asking women to marry them anymore, because it's become an absolutely awful institution for men. I mean, if we look at some high-profile marriages that have gone wrong, there's the Robin Williams marriage, or his 3 marriages, 2 of which had failed. And he had been required to pay, it was over $30 million in alimony and child support payments from those. And he was on to a 3rd marriage. He was being forced to sell a lot of his assets off to pay alimony and child support because, you know, there was still, I mean, he was being asked to pay this at a rate he couldn't afford at this point in his life, where he wasn't earning the same rate of money when he was playing roles like, you know, the genie in Aladdin. But he was, I think he was absolutely depressed at that point. He also had Parkinson's condition, and all of this ended up with him hanging himself. And so that's the Robin Williams marriage, his 3 marriages and sort of how the alimony situation in the States and the fact that he had to pay about 35 million in child support, that all led to him hanging himself. I mean, like John Cleese, I believe after his failed marriage, he actually did a comedy tour. He called it the Alimony Tour. He kind of took himself out of retirement and had to actually do a tour so he could make alimony payments. So I guess that was his way of getting back at what was happening to him. Was he called his tour the Alimony Tour? And so yeah, so these are some of the reasons why you see men aren't asking women to marry them anymore. In the UK in 1970, there were 460,000 marriages. That's basically halved now. It's down to about 220 odd thousand as of 2012. So it's sort of falling through the floor. The number of marriages that are taking place, and you see more and more men are engaging in, I guess, hookup culture, sort of seeing a girl for, you see this with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's pretty much had one bird for about a year, and then he dumps her and then moves on to the next one. I guess he's trying to protect himself so that he doesn't end up like Robin Williams or some of the other male celebrities. Paul McCartney, the whole Heather Mills McCartney fiasco, with him having to pay, I think it could have been a lot worse, but he had to pay like 20 odd million to this blatant gold digger, and that was after a few years of a fairly horrific marriage, and you're seeing this right across society, and it's basically the solution, I think, is that it needs to kind of get back to its more kind of traditionalist values, where as an institution it's actually taken seriously, and so you don't have the I guess you don't really want sort of no-fault divorce laws, especially when this results in say you've got like say if the man's the main breadwinner, which happens a lot, and he puts a massive amount of investment into the house, and then after the marriage, when there's a few children, you throw him out of the house and you allow the wife to stay in there, because that just promotes kind of gold digging behaviour on the perspective of the wife. And I mean I think that's just awful for the guy who's thrown out of all of that, and it's just all of it is a horrific situation. And I was saying before that with the older generation, if you speak to grandparents, if you speak to people in nursing homes, what you see there is they say, oh well, we married very young, and we were together for 80 years or however long, and you just don't really see that anymore. And because I guess back then, because the vows were taken seriously, and people actually honoured their vows and honoured this institution that was marriage. It's now become a sham run by, I guess it's kind of run by greedy lawyers in the family court system who want to promote divorce, and they want to have as many destructive divorce settlements as possible, where they can get their little mitts on as much money as they can. To do that, they need to have a huge relocation of wealth or a huge splitting of wealth, and so they do this by a lot of the time by militarising fairly horrible women against their husbands.